Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be diving in on a story that is actually all over the social media right now, and that is the story of this man who went into a 3-day coma after finding out that his wife, or let me say after finding out his wife has been lying to him, and that the property that they've been renting for 10 years that he's been paying rent on that property actually belongs to his wife. So imagine waking up one day and you realize that your wife or your partner is your landlord. What would you do in this situation? And so I guess for him that was enough to put him in a coma. So that is something, that's a very sad situation. So while I was looking into that, I came across a video of these women having a talk show, and they were saying that a similar story happened some time ago back in Nigeria of a man after 4 years of marriage. Then he found out that the house he was renting actually belongs to his wife. And so now, which leads us to this question for both the singles and the married ones. If you were to discover or find out that your wife or your husband has been lying to you or has been dishonest to you throughout your marriage, especially when it comes to the assets they own or the properties they own, will you leave or will you stay? And for the singles out there, what is the extent, or let me say, how far are you willing to go when it comes to laying all your cards on the table with your partner before entering or making that commitment of bounding each other until death do you part? So what are you willing to expose to the person, especially when it comes to the area of finances, assets, and all that? And so please, let's get started with the conversation in the comment section. So please tell me what you think as we go into this video to see as we watch this video to see what these women are trying to say, or the points or opinion they're trying to lay across. So let's get into it.
Where do you draw the line from being, would I say, dishonest or secretive about what you have, especially when you're in a marriage situation? And this came up as a story of a man who recently collapsed when he found out that the house rent he's been paying for years, that the house belongs to his wife. She never mentioned it to him that she owned the house. Obviously, she probably had the house while she was a single woman, doing her thing, having her own thing, and then she wanted a nice house. Digging further into the story, she wanted a house in a certain... so the story we have is that this woman wanted a house in Lekki, right? The man could afford, and she owned the house in Lekki. The man was living somewhere else. I don't know the other community where he was living in. So he was ready to get them as their startup in the other place where she did not want. She now said, okay, I'll find you a cheaper house in Lekki. So the guy was really excited to find out that, you can get something this cheap. So she was willing to get a discount in Lekki. Of course, it's her house. So, for example, maybe where you were living in, let's find the new community was 800,000 naira. And Lekki was billing you 2.something million naira a year. She now said, okay, I found somewhere in Lekki for 1 million, 1.2 million naira. Which for the man is like, oh, for real? That's affordable. And now says, okay, let's go to Lekki since you're able to get somewhere cheaper. He did that consistently for 4 years before he then found out that, hey, this house,
my wife's house,
belongs to you. Now, was she solving a problem? Was she compounding a problem or creating a problem?
I think the man, first of all, should be grateful. Yeah? Yes. Let's start from somewhere. Should be grateful that he has a woman who is industrious and prudent. He wanted to stay in Lekki for whatever reason, and he couldn't afford to pay, let's say, for instance, 3 million naira. And then he was able to get it for 1 million. The woman has done something for him, solved that part of the problem for him. Another thing that he should think of is, what if I'm not even aware and I'm not living in the house, I'm struggling to pay somebody else another 3 million, and she's, renting this out and collecting money, I'm not aware. What if she did not come in and give me that form of cushion to help me? That's one. So that gratefulness should be there first of all before you get upset on that.
Okay, let me pause you.
No, wait. So secondly,
I don't want you to finish the show.
no, I'm not finishing the show. I also know that when a woman meets a responsible man who is working to ensure that the goal of the family is met, no matter how secretive you want to be, you would relax, you would open your eyes and you would tell him, this is what I have here, this is what I have there, you will plan together. But if you are married to a man who his head is not on his shoulder, it's okay to protect yourself. Probably, we don't know the case. Maybe the man would have squandered the money or sold the house or gotten, and she decided to protect herself. So that man, be grateful to your wife. Now that we know that you have this house, how do we now start sharing the money?
Okay, so talk about what are your thoughts on this?
BC just did a perspective. You are coaching someone and you give them a different lens to view the situation and give them a bit of peace of mind. And it's a coaching tool to help the husband cope, because it will shock anybody. Even a woman, I will be shocked if I find out that my husband owns the house I'm living in and I had no idea. Even if I'm not the one paying rent, I will be shocked. Talk of now, you are paying rent to your spouse that you're married to for years. You need to probably borrow BC's lens to find some positive spin to such a traumatic experience. That is wickedness. Such a person can kill you. Let's just take the literal Nigerian way of looking at situation. Like, you can kuku kill me, because you can't, for a human being to hold that level of, like, I always try to want to lie small to my husband, but my face will give me like, do you have anybody with you? Anybody at all? No,
but your head is like this.
No, but somewhere you will read it, because this is someone, they say you don't hide your nakedness from someone that will bury you. You are supposed to be open and naked with one person in this whole world. Your husband, your wife, your partner. If the foundation, that trust foundation, is that shattered, then what exactly are we doing?
If I meet a man that I feel is not industrious and I feel cannot pull his weight in the marriage, and I will be the only one pulling the weight in the marriage, guess what? I will not marry him. I will move, because that means both of us are not on the same page. A marriage based on deception from the onset is a marriage based doomed to failure.
When it comes to marriage, people would always have to devise a template that works for them. They will look around and see what they have experienced, what people around them have experienced, and find the best ways to protect themselves. When it's a man that does this kind of thing, we don't shout. Why is it? A lot of men have properties that their wives are not aware of, and they're living okay.
That is right?
Yes. No!
It's not right.
The society does not crucify them as much as the society crucifies a woman.
I will crucify the man.
No, how now? Will you know?
If I marry to a man and I find out that he has property that he didn't tell me, me and him, we will enter the same trouser. One leg of that trouser. We will enter that fight.
Whether you know or not, they have it. They have houses, they have properties, not the man that will be married to.
Stay tuned. Each of those ladies, they make very, very valid point. So I don't know which side you're on, but let me know in the comment section. But one thing I'm going to say is that we have to come to a balance, especially for those of us who are still yet to make that commitment to enter marriage. It's important that you and your partner come to a place where you guys, there is understanding, there is a balance, because like one of the statements that she made was that a marriage that is started on deception is bound to be doomed, or is bound to end up in failure, which is true, because the Bible makes us to understand, as a book of Proverbs, that by wisdom a house is built, right? By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. So it's very important that we start on a good note. If the person or your partner is not willing to put all their cards on the table, it's okay. It's okay for you to move on, because better for you to move on than to stay in there and thinking that it's going to So yes, so let's thank you all for watching, and thank you for your comments, for sharing, and for liking the video. Until next time, bye.